All right, let's talk to the Diddy, Ray Didinger. Normally joining us on Monday. Ray, we appreciate the change to Tuesday. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm pumped up. So, Ray, there are negatives, both offensive inefficiency and some whoppers of decisions by the head coach. But I think it was a great, very important win last night. Are you with me on that?
Yeah, I am. Listen, this team is now this year. I mean, they've beaten Kansas City in Arrowhead, they've beaten Tampa down in Tampa, and they've beaten Green Bay out in Lambeau. I mean, that's not easy to win those 3 games on the road. And even whatever the score, whatever the circumstances, however you want to analyze it, I mean, those are big wins. And last night they were for sure. I know. All morning, a lot of people saying, ugly win, ugly win, ugly win. I don't think Vic Fangio thought it was an ugly win. I think Vic Fangio thought it was a beautiful win.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can win, it's the Eagles. You got to go back to 2002, the last time the Eagles scored 10 points and won a game.
Wow.
So it doesn't happen that often, but it happened last night, and it's sitting at 7-2. They're in a pretty good spot.
Could you believe that we didn't kick a field goal or punt in that situation in the fourth quarter? Ray, what we did was so far from what I expected. Like I said, there were essentially 3 choices, and the one that Nick Sirianni picked was the last one I ever expected. He went and aired that thing out, and it was covered.
Yeah.
What the heck did you make of that? Why did he not punt? Is this what analytics are turning football into?
No. That's. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that comes out of analytics, but that ain't one of them. Analytics isn't telling you to do that.
What?
That just
That
just burst out of the fertile mind of Nick Sirianni.
Oh no!
I mean, to me, there's no possible justification for it. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, right there.
We feel the same way. I'm confused. I feel confused.
Well, it was just a dumb decision. Ray, what'll be interesting is if he amends it the next time he talks publicly. Last night he stood by it after the game, but I mean, to me, common sense says it was stupid, just flat stupid.
Yeah, well, what was it Voltaire said? Common sense isn't that common. I mean, that's. I think that was a case of that. I mean, that was to me. There is no decision. I mean, you punt it,
yeah,
and you make them drive the long field against a defense they haven't been able to beat all night. I mean, that's what you do.
Totally.
I mean, you don't throw a go route in that situation and hand them the ball at the 37-yard line. That's. I mean, I don't. Look, I don't care how many times Nick tries to explain this, and I don't care how many different ways he tries to explain this. It was a dumb decision.
Totally.
And they got away with it. And they get out of there with a big win. But I mean that was a decision that was just jaw dropping. I mean, you heard both Merrill and Mike at the moment, in real time, both saying, "I don't know about this." I mean, anybody with an ounce of common sense was thinking the same thing. But they get away with it and they win. Good for them.
So Ray, let's talk about the offense and the inefficiency. So, and it's not just last night. It's been a lot this year. You got coaches with play calling. You got quarterback, you got offensive line, you got running back, you got tight end, you got wide receivers. Where does the blame primarily go, and who else gets secondary and third-level blame for why this offense is so much less than the defense, even though the offense gets paid so many more bucks than the defense?
I don't know. I mean, because it's if it was one thing every week, it would be easier to deal with.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of different things, and you just put them in a big bucket right there, and that's kind of it. I mean, some weeks it is the play calling, and some weeks it is the offensive structure and the approach. That's part of it. I'm not going to lay it all on Kevin Petullo, but I mean, yes, sometimes it is. A lot of it earlier this season was just the. I don't want to say poor performance, but the inefficiency of the offensive line. The offensive line, which has been excellent for years, early this year was really struggling. And, it was we all knew what it was. I mean, you had guys that were up there playing hurt, and they weren't playing nearly as well as they played before. But that was causing the offense to have a lot of sputters and coughs, and, that was part of it. And then you've also had the quarterback being in and out. And last night was certainly not his finest hour. And one of the things you can't dismiss in this game is the fact that Green Bay's defense is very good.
Sure.
I mean, when I was, last week when I was looking at Green Bay, just to get a sense of where they were, I mean, the one thing that jumped out at me is, boy, their defense is good. I mean, they are fast and they are physical and they can cover. So, I mean, I knew the Eagles were going to be scratching to get points, and yeah, that's what you came down to. You got 10, but it was enough to win. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to win a whole lot of games in the NFL scoring 10 points. You're just not. I mean, they did last night, but the next 2 weeks you're not. The next 2 weeks you're not. I mean, Detroit scored almost 300 points this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 10's not going to cut it against Detroit. With Dan Campbell. So how about that idea? Dan Campbell announced, well, I don't know that it was announced, but people found out that he took over play calling this last week because he felt like it needed energized a little bit. Is that something that we should consider?
You don't want Nick to take it over. Who takes it over? Howie or Jeff?
That's what I'm saying. I
don't see that. I don't see that happening. I think Campbell felt that the play calling had become a little too conservative, and he wanted to open it up. And they scored 44 on Washington.
He did a great job.
Here. Oh, by the way,
so what do we do when the offense is stale and needs a little supercharging or something like that, or maybe a different voice?
I don't see that happening. I really don't. I think it's a matter of just it comes back to what sounds at this point like a really tiresome cliche, but I mean it does come down to execution, and there have been times that's been lacking. One of the things we didn't mention, we were talking about the things that have bogged this offense down. They get too many penalties. Yeah. I mean they're one of the most penalized teams in the league right now. I mean they're in terms of yards penalized per game. I think only 5 teams in the league are worse than the Eagles. So, I mean, there are a lot of times they just lose. They'll have a really good play, and here it comes back. It's penalty. Or the penalties are putting them in really bad third down situations. I mean, last night I was logging this last night. They have a 3rd and 14, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12. Nobody in the league's converting those. So, I mean, and a lot of it was, some of it was negative plays, put them in that situation, but some was penalties too. And they just have to be better at that stuff. There's a certain amount of poor execution that's causes some of it, but some of it is just general inefficiency, and the penalties are a big part of that.
Ray, let's talk about Jalen Phillips. Football doesn't typically lend itself to major difference makers at the trade deadline. You get filler guys for sure, but baseball you get more of that, major difference maker, Cliff Lee, 2009, those types. This guy to me looks like an enormous upgrade. What did you make of how he played and what it means for the rest of the season?
Oh, yeah. Well, he is. I mean, he was a first-round draft pick. He was an 18th pick in the draft, and has played. And I thought it was very encouraging. 2 things I thought were very encouraging. If you look back over his career, the best football he's played was when he played under Vic in Miami a couple years ago. That was his best year. That was the one year that he really looked like a first-round draft pick. So I thought the idea of reuniting him with Vic Fangio was a good thing. And the other part of it is that I think he's in a team. He's gotten away from a team that's going absolutely nowhere, and he's come to a team that has a realistic chance of going to the Super Bowl. And you can see, man, he is energized.
Yeah.
One of the things I really liked about him as a player coming here is, for a big guy, he is really quick. Quick. He is really quick off the ball. I remember after the trade was made, I went back into my files, and I went back to the 2021 draft, and I pulled out my file on Jalen Phillips, and I had forgotten this. And I had forgotten that I had him rated as the number 2 edge rusher in the entire draft when he came out of Miami. And I was reading the rundown on it, and one of the things I said was, one of the things I wrote down was very light on his feet, and that is very true. I mean, you see that. He is really quick and he's really nimble. And for a guy who has the speed to be an edge rusher, which he is, and he certainly is capable of getting the bending and turning the corner, he is strong enough to take it inside and inside rush and also play the run. So, yeah, I mean, Joe, you used the term difference maker. Yeah, he definitely represents that. Now, if he can... I mean, you look at his line last night. Oh my goodness! I mean, he's got 7 pressures. He's got 2 quarterback hits. He had 6 tackles. He had 2 tackles for losses. Fumble recovery. I mean, that was huge. And on the other side, you get Nolan Smith back, who was buzzing around.
Nolan
and I think
Smith
that was,
is
so
aggressive, right back doing what he left off doing, where he is just his back is always flat, Ray. I mean, he is a projectile, a fearless football player.
Violent.
He is, and you combine that with now earlier part of the year. Edge rush really was a problem. There was we talked about it a lot, and they just weren't getting much pressure on. The guys they had on the edges just weren't winning one-on-one. They just weren't. Well, now you got Smith back, and he's playing good. Phillips is a huge addition. He helps a lot. BG comes in, plays a couple of snaps, and Jalix Hunt, who frankly for the first month of the season wasn't doing a whole heck of a lot. Now he's starting to pick it up. And you combine that you're getting pretty consistent edge pressure right now with the fact that Vic is showing some surprising willingness to blitz. How many times did he send Nakobe Dean up the A gap? So, that kind of stuff, they did what they had to do last night, which was really unsettle Jordan Love. Jordan Love never got comfortable that whole game. And there was a lot of time when you looked at the field and you looked at the downfield picture, you saw he had guys open. He really did have guys open, but he either didn't have the time to see him or he wasn't able to get the ball to them, and that makes a difference. That's how you can get out of Lambeau with a 10-7 win. That ain't easy to do.
For sure. Ray, I thought it was one of the bigger regular season wins of the Sirianni-Hurts era. I thought it was huge.
Absolutely. But now, now you got a short week and you got Detroit coming in here, so it doesn't
huge
get any
test.
easier.
Yep.